You don't have to fit in a mold or look a certain way or come from a certain culture to succeed. And someone that is ordinary, that goes through adversity, can actually become extraordinary. In fact, breaking the mold is often where the real magic happens.
Hello, I'm Ines Darrat, FY26 President of the Society of Women Engineers, and welcome to Diverse, a SWE podcast. Th Tran, Vice President of Global Front-End Procurement at Micron Technology, is joining me today. T is the co-sponsor of Micron's Women's Leadership Network. She holds 13 patents, and she has had a remarkable journey from Vietnamese refugee to tech executive that I'm excited to hear more about. T is also giving the closing keynote at our upcoming WE25 conference in New Orleans, which is the largest global conference for women and allies in engineering and technology. Her keynote is called Dream Big, Live Large, Give Back. So we're going to talk about all of those themes in this episode. T, thank you for joining us and welcome to Diverse.
Thank you. What an incredible honor. Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you for joining us. To start, could you share a little bit about your journey, what first sparked your interest in STEM, and how did that lead you to your career in engineering?
Absolutely. My journey is really about survival, freedom, and finding your North Star. And I'm a first generation immigrant who dream big and aspire to be an artist. But then I found my groove in engineering, which really afforded me this amazing adventure, what I call a semiconductor gypsy life. And I really got to live to the fullest and thankful for that. My family and I came to the U.S. Penniless. We escaped from Vietnam, but we came without knowing a word of English. We started basically from scratch. But I embrace everything that is all new and good about America, and really quickly realized that math was fun and came easy for me. I think in sixth grade, I was selected to be part of this gifted program called Alpha Mentor. Got to compete in math competitions and stuff. So I knew that that was something that I loved, but I also loved the arts. But then I chose electrical engineering mainly because at that time, it was the easiest way to get a scholarship. I actually didn't really know what electrical engineering was, but I quickly learned that that really provided fundamentals, not only in career, but in life in terms of problem solving and the platform to really exercise your creativity and have huge impact. And then over the years, I worked across companies and 3 continents, traveled the world, and really relished every moment of it. So I really feel like I lived 9 lives. And eventually I found my home at Micron, where I actually stayed, because prior to that, I never stayed in one place more than 5 years. Really, I felt like I really thrived and rose through the ranks, and then finally grew to VP of Technology Development, where I led a global team, US and Asia, to develop cutting-edge DRAM, dynamic random access memory technologies that helped Micron to go from follower to leading-edge technology company. And so I'm very proud of what our team has achieved. And then more recently, I seized the opportunity to learn the business side of semiconductor, where I leveraged my STEM background to really hone in on my business acumen. That in itself is a whole new adventure, but I still feel deeply connected to innovation and strategic vision.
Thank you so much for sharing so much about your story. It's actually fascinating because we have multiple similarities. I also came to the US as a refugee. I did speak a few words of English because I did live in England for a couple of months. So I'm just listening to you tell your story, and I see so much of myself in the story. And so that's wonderful for you to share, and just all the perseverance and coming, with my family as a first generation immigrant as well. So it's fascinating to hear your story, and I'm looking forward to hearing more about it. And actually, your story goes really well with the theme for WE25, which is embrace your story, right? So embrace your story is really comes from my very different story. I came to the United States as a refugee, and originally from Libya, which is in Africa. Even though I actually didn't come from Libya, I was born in Germany and lived there. But it's just fascinating because the whole embracing your story as you go along is like figuring out and pivoting and realizing, oh, this didn't work. I love the fact that you talked to, you thought you were going to be an artist and then you ended up going into engineering. And I'm actually an engineer who's been doing art recently. So that's been part of my story, and just trying new things and pivoting. It was a COVID hobby that I picked up. And so, yes, like, it's fascinating. I was like, I loved it. I was like, I actually would like to know more about what kind of art, and if you still do your art in addition to all the engineering, amazing things that you're doing with 13 patents, as well as also what you did, which is pivoting to doing the business side, right? So it's just figuring out what works for you, and really wanted to know from you, and embracing your story is like, have you had the things that didn't work well and then you pivoted, and also more about your refugee story and why being a refugee empowers you to be an amazing STEM leader.
Sure, sure. So first of all, before I forget the art part, so it's painting and printmaking. I actually did attend VCU while I was a full-time engineer, but that is so cool that we have so much in common. Definitely looking forward to getting together. Thanks for sharing. And so on embracing a start, that is something that really hits home for me. For a long time, actually early when, I was, everything was new and trying to, fit in and belong, growing up in the coming of age years to the US, looking different and, having an accent and learning English, that was all very challenging. And then for a long time, I didn't talk much about my background, and I wanted to be known for my smarts and my work, right? And so everything else was just, kind of hidden. But along the way, I've come to realize that our stories are actually our superpowers, right? That's how we relate to each other. That's how we build relationships, really develop empathy for each other. And not only the person, but the background and the culture that we come from. And so, my journey taught me it's about resilience, grit, and empathy, really. And for me, what's unique about the refugee experience is, for me, freedom was not just a right, it was a privilege, right? So I value it. I do not take it for granted. And I try to live the best way that I know how. And we'll talk about giving back in that sense. But, in terms of survival and just having the gift of freedom is something that I think we should all cherish and really do what we can with that. It's really shaped how I lead, how I mentor, and then also how I show up every day. I literally, I look in the mirror and every day I just have this big smile, and I think, man, they pay me to do this, before going to work. And so, I want others, especially women and underrepresented folks, in STEM to know that their stories matter. And you don't have to fit in a mold or look a certain way or come from a certain culture to succeed, and someone that is ordinary that goes through adversity can actually become extraordinary. In fact, breaking the mold is often where the real magic happens.
Yes, thank you so much. And, just the sense of freedom and what freedom really means, and never taking it for granted, right? Loved hearing this, and, just sharing these information, just because having that shared experience and knowing, like, when other people don't have freedoms, and then what you can do with freedom is truly an amazing thing. It's what makes the American story, in my opinion, very much about that as well. So, on that note, I know you were talking about what your North Stars are, and you're talking about your perseverance and, like, showing up every day and going, oh, they pay me to do this, and put a smile on your face. Is there like a specific example that you would like to share, when, like, you're dreaming big and being courageous helped you to overcome a specific challenge or a step in an opportunity that changed the course of your career?
Yes, well, there are many, but I think if I were to look at it in totality, there were maybe three inflection points that stand out, where I transitioned from an individual contributor to a technical leader, and grows into an organizational leader, but then also making the leap from engineering to procurement. And then the third one was where I discovered that the fundamentals that I had built up in my STEM career and life experiences really provided me with both the IQ and EQ to do just about anything I want. And the lived experiences is that kind of international global experience, having lived and worked in three different continents. And, I had spent years leading DRAM process integration in terms of technology development, and I was deep in the zone. It was like, the adrenaline rush that comes from being a decades-long semiconductor techie is extremely addictive. And so sometimes you have your nose to the ground and you're just so in the zone that you just don't know what you don't know, right? But I also at one point realized that no matter how hard I worked or how good I was, the power of my impact and influence could only be amplified or take it to the next level if I became an organizational or technical leader. And so that's how I transitioned to, a leadership role. And then taking on this procurement role to learn more about the business side was a huge pivot. It was scary, but exciting at the same time. It meant learning a whole new language, building new business acumen and relationships, and also navigating a whole different world. And when I talk about dreaming big and what is the catalyst for it all, in engineering, you learn how to parallel process, so to speak. You start experiment and then you wait for the results, and then you do something else in parallel. And then so I thought, well, I can walk and chew gum at the same time. I could do engineering, which I love obsessively, and then also explore my other loves, and then so that's how I started my own company while still doing engineering full time. And that in itself was a whole new beginning or a whole new chapter, so to speak. I always knew, that failure is not fatal and I can recover from anything. And so I embraced any kind of anxiety, discomfort, fear, and trusted my gut instincts and went for it all fearlessly. And I think this collective experience and learning from, my career and also my own business and life experiences open new ways for me to influence from a strategic direction setting, drive impact at Micron, but also allows me in my personal life, to travel the world, dream big, and like I said, live large and give back. And so it's really the ultimate superpower.
It's an amazing superpower. So I really want to ask, so I travel as well for work and for fun. Is there a specific places that you've traveled, throughout the world that you're like, I want to go back there again?
Oh, there's so many.
Yeah. What's in your top five? Let me ask. That's what I have. I have a top five.
Okay. Well, my heart always belongs to Paris. I've been to Greece also multiple times. And of course, Greece has the ancient ruins and all the islands and a lot of amazing sites to discover. I would say also been to Russia, see the history of Moscow. And I could go on. Latin America, I got to see the amazing Iguazu Falls. And so I can just rattle on. How about you? What's your favorite?
I have so many. So I could pick one from like the continent. So seeing the falls, between Brazil and Argentina is one of my favorite things. I haven't gone to the Amazon yet. That's on my to-do list. And I was there for We Local Campinas, which is our first We Local in South America. I just ended up going to Sao Paulo. I didn't get to go to the Amazon, but I have it on my list to go to the Amazon one day. I love Edinburgh. It's one of my favorite cities.
Oh, yeah, I've been there too.
Yeah, right. It's one of my favorite cities. I can walk there. I was born in Germany, so Germany is also a little bit near and dear to my heart. So I like going to Munich a lot too. So, multiple places in the Middle East. I'm Libyan. I haven't gotten a chance to go home in a long time, but when I get the chance, Istanbul is one of my favorite places, just Turkey as a whole. And then, other places in the Middle East that are more tied to my religious heritage. But I mean, I can name more than that, but that's just off the top of my head. I enjoyed my trip to Thailand as well, and Malaysia and Australia. And it's just I've been very privileged in life with work and also with fun and with SWE to be able to travel to all the places. So I just have Antarctica left. That's all I have left. And I'll go to all 7 continents. But that's been my goal, is to make it to all the continents right now. But yes. Yeah, travel is so much fun just because you get to see the world. You get to meet people. You get to just see how other people live across the world. Being able to also immerse yourself and trying to understand or figure things out when you're going to a country where you don't speak the language sometimes. And it just reminds you of how everyone is, seeing just the way things are and how different people embody different things and what the desires are. And so that's also been one of my favorite things about SWE, is just because we're a global organization. I've got to go to so many places and meet so many people from India to Prague to Spain to Brazil to across the United States. Just from SWE, being able to do that with SWE has been really fun as well. One of the things you talked about was, all the different things that you're doing outside of being an engineer. You're advising on nonprofit boards, but also within your role, you're also mentoring others, and you've co-sponsored the Women's Leadership Network at Micron. So what motivates you to invest in others, and what impact have you seen when women in STEM lift each other up?
Yeah, so giving back is quote unquote a given for me. I love to live, right? But I also live to love. And I mean, for me, living to love is giving back. And I would not be here without the people who believed in me unconditionally and supported me all through my life and career unconditionally. I still have the same friends from my first job, family, friends, teachers, mentors, colleagues, all the people that support you even behind the scenes and you didn't realize it until later. That has also enabled me to realize the superpower of my own influence and impact, and what the role of a female leader, how much that means to up and coming women or women who are experienced, but somewhere along the way got lost through the process or whatever, that never got to shine and really showcase their best selves. When women support each other, it's the most powerful thing. And I've seen mentees go from doubting themselves to leading major initiatives. And SWE was actually one of the last conference we went to, one of the Micron Women Leadership members. She is super shy, and she made herself with the support of a Micron team, to go and present. And then it was just amazing. And to see people blossom. And what I love is the treasure of hidden talents, to really tap into those talents and then help water so that these flowers can bloom. And so it's not just about career growth, but it's about creating spaces where people feel safe, to dream big and take more risk, and know that there's a system or a group of women, their own tribe that will be there. Sometimes we go through life, we think we're supposed to do certain things and not really checking ourselves to see, is this the life I signed up for, right? And we live sometimes either in fear or just to follow a certain routine or expectations. And so for people to really find their purpose, the Japanese call it ikigai. Oh, by the way, I love to travel to Japan too. Love the food, and so I forgot to say that. But to find your purpose in life is what this is all about. And SWE is a platform for women to really start with gaining that confidence, developing that conviction, and the courage to go after anything they want.
So on that note, for developing the confidence, and then discussing just SWE and then be able to network, is there any specific advice that you would like to give to women engineers who wants to grow her network or find her voice as a leader but doesn't know where to start? And I really loved your story about the person who gave a presentation, even though that wasn't necessarily her comfort zone, and SWE being such a safe space for her to be able to do that.
Yeah, it's true. So in general, I'm action oriented. So, for me, it's like a chess game. In order to win, you have to make a move. I'm the type that plays the long game, right? Like, I don't just play to win this one battle. Like, I have a line of sight to the end goal that I want. And it comes back to having, finding your why and knowing, what you're seeking for in your North Star. For women, I think that, if you just start small, but just do something. For example, join a community. If you're already a part of SWE, then take on a leadership role, or set up SWE in another place that you move to, and reach out to someone that you admire or look up to, and form relationships. And I think that a lot of people are introverted, so they don't think that, that's something that's their comfort zone, but, you have nothing to lose. And most oftentimes you find out that people will be glad that you're reaching out. Just say yes to opportunities that scare you. But I think most importantly, be authentic, be yourself, but stretch yourself, right? So you don't have to be a loud leader. You don't have to thump your chest to be seen. Focus on your track record. That will deliver itself. But you do have to somewhat learn how to advocate for yourself. And that comes with building relationships and networking. And I think SWE is an incredible platform. I'm just amazed of the growth and change and how it's just really gotten better and better over the years. And ultimately, just never stop learning, like the world is out there, so much to learn and so much to really enjoy in life and live like you mean it, so to speak, and everything else will follow.
Thank you so much for those words. It's interesting because one of the themes about Embrace Your Story, and I love this one, say yes to something that scares you, is one of my main things is don't be afraid to fail or learn from your failures, right? It's like, just because something doesn't work, go ahead and try it. If it doesn't work out, you can pivot, you can learn from it because it's an experience and then move on. And so, take those opportunities and run with them. And yes, some people may not feel comfortable with that, but maybe do small steps, as you put it, like just do those small steps and decide how you want to move forward. But you need to embrace your pivots and learn from the things that don't work out great. But I tell everyone I wouldn't be here today, whether at work or within my SWE role, if I hadn't tried something new. And yeah, some of them didn't go well. I ended up, changing my plans and pivoting along the way. But I am here today because of taking those steps. And so thank you so much for sharing that. And it's really, I'm taking it to heart as well. It's been so inspiring to talk with you today. I look forward to meeting you and actually seeing you in person because I'm looking forward to our conversation. Before we wrap up, can you share any more of the preview of what attendees will hear at your keynote at WE25?
Well, thank you. It's quite an honor for me, for sure. And I'm so excited for it. I cannot even contain myself. As noted, the keynote is about dreaming big and living large and giving back. But I'll share the story of my name and then my refugee to VP journey, and then call to action. And when I think about STEM and SWE and all the things that we try to do, how it all kind of convenes in this forum and how exciting it is and the impact that we will impart to others, super excited about it. In Vietnamese, we have this term called Bụi Đời. It means like the dust of life, and in the big scheme of the universe, we're here for a very short time and how we live it matters and how you show up matters. So I hope that it inspires others and I look so forward to it. And thank you for this opportunity.
Well, thank you. Thank you again, T, for joining me today. I look forward to your presentation and to your keynote on dreaming big, living large, and giving back, and including your dust of life stories and your chapters that you will be including. I love that term, dust of life. It's interesting. So thank you for sharing that with us. And yeah, looking forward to you telling us your story and telling us about you, and also like how, you embody all the different things that you've talked about today. So thank you once again. And I greatly appreciate you joining me today.
Yay. Thank you. Looking forward to it.
Thank you. And for our listeners, don't miss the chance to hear more from T in person at WE25 this October in New Orleans. I'll be there. Along with her closing keynote, you'll experience 3 days of incredible learning, networking, and celebrations with thousands of women engineers and allies from around the world. WE25 takes place October 23rd to the 25th, and you can find all the details at we25.swe.org. I'm Inas Darrat, your FY26 SWE president, and from all of us at SWE, thanks for listening.